Hi, I'm Tony. Welcome to Sports Bike Shop's review of the Knox Urbane Pro Mk3 armoured shirt. The tagline Knox used for this armoured shirt is "no jacket required," and I think that sums it up pretty well. Traditionally, an armoured shirt would protect against impact injuries, but it would need a layer over the top to deliver the slide protection. Not with the Urbane Pro Mk3, or also with other armoured shirts in the Knox range at the moment. These provide protection on all levels against impact, abrasions, and it also resists cuts, tears and bursting at the seams. This one sits in the middle of their range with a AA rating under the CE safety standard. Its healthy dose of mesh makes it a good choice for summer, where you can wear it on its own and feel the benefit of air rushing inside. Then when things get cooler and wetter, you can add layers over the top to deliver the weather protection. As you've got the accident protection looked after, you can then get outer layers that concentrate solely on keeping you warm and dry. Knox have a range of overlayers themselves that are designed to work with their armoured shirts, but you don't have to go for those if you prefer something else. Okay then, let's run through the details. There's a high tenacity nylon material covering the shoulders, the section running from the neck under the arms to the waist, and then also on the outside of the forearms. This material is very stretchy, which allows you to run a close fit. That's handy for keeping the armour in the right place if you're unfortunate and find yourself hitting the deck. That material works in conjunction with a mesh fabric that's down the front of the torso, covers most of the inner arms and also runs down the back. Now I say most of the inner arms because there's also a section of lightweight mesh fabric that's very stretchy to help with flexing the elbows, and this lightweight mesh is also used at the top of the rib cage for flexibility at the chest. Having used this shirt on a riding tour through Europe, I can say the airflow works well, as it helped me stay cool on some pretty hot riding days. I couldn't get the full benefit for a lot of the time because I wore an airbag vest over the top, but that was actually one of the reasons for taking this shirt with me in the first place. I knew that airbag would be too warm if I wore it over the top of a regular jacket, so this gave me the AA protection I wanted for the rest of my body, and it still gave me airflow through the arms, as well as a much lighter torso section which reduced bulk when combined with the airbag. On the occasions that I've worn this shirt without an airbag over the top, it gives me plenty of airflow and it does make life much more comfortable in the heat. The shirt does up with a zip, and there's now a placket behind that keeps the zip teeth away from your skin. There's a section right at the top of the zip runner that stops the puller flapping around and striking your neck. The collar has stretch properties, and there's also a lining material to make it more comfy, and there's another fabric that's lining the cuffs. You also get elasticated thumb loops here that stop the sleeves riding up. I found these were uncomfortable when I wore them because I think my arms are probably disproportionately long for someone of my size, so I soon stopped using those loops. But looking through the customer reviews, I'm not the only person to suffer with this, but it's not a commonly raised issue. I wore this shirt with short summer gloves mostly, and I still didn't have any issues with gapping around my wrist despite not using the thumb loops. If I found there was an issue like this, then I would wear longer race style gloves instead. Now finally on the outside, let's look at the exterior pockets, which are pretty traditional in style. You get a zipped one at each hip. There's a nice touch here though. In the right pocket there's a small cleaning cloth attached on an elasticated cord, and I used this a couple of times to clean my glasses. On top of that as well, there's some light reflective coating material on the pocket toggles that help you be seen in a headlight beam. So while we're covering that, there's also light reflective piping on the collarbones and the back as well. It's subtle stuff that you'd only see if you could somehow follow yourself on a nighttime ride. Okay, that's the outside done. Let's go inside. The back has a soft lining material, but the front of the shirt has no liner, which maximizes airflow through the mesh. If you like pockets, then you're in luck, as by my count there are 6 of them inside this shirt. One at the chest has an icon to show it's for your phone. My Samsung A35 is pretty big with a 6.6-inch display, and it just about fits in. Another icon and a little dinker of a pocket shows that that one's for your earplugs, and the other 2 larger pockets on each side have no icons, so you can put whatever you like in those. The armour is Knox's own micro-lock compact armour. It's soft, it's flexible and relatively thin considering it meets the higher level 2 within the CE standard. It comes at the shoulders and elbows, and there's also a level 2 back protector that gives great coverage across the back. A Velcro panel behind the main zip at the front means you can add an optional CE level 1 chest protector, which costs an extra 40 quid. Overall, as I said at the beginning, the CE safety rating for this shirt is AA, and that's the middle of 3 levels. That also shows the mesh material has abrasion resistant properties as well as the bulkier material. To meet AA, fabric in areas like these has to be tested for abrasion resistance. If a jacket or a shirt is only single A approved, then these kind of areas don't have to be tested at all. To connect the shirt to your trousers, Knox have fitted their security belt loops. You feed your belt through these loops as well as the loops on your riding jeans, and then the two will be connected. I find this a bit tricky. So did a couple of the owners who've left reviews for this shirt on our site, but both of those owners still gave a 5-star rating, so this issue clearly wasn't a big problem for them. Okay, before I sum up, let's talk about sizing and prices. The Knox Urbane Pro Mk3 comes in sizes from small to 5XL. That covers a range from 35 inches at the chest up to 54 inches. I wore a size medium when reviewing this and I found that very comfortable. That is in keeping with the normal size I'd wear, as I usually take whatever the size chart shows for a 40-inch chest. The fit is perfect in the body for me, but the sleeves, I have to admit, are a little bit fuller than I'd like. The stretch fabric means the sleeves could be tighter and still be comfortable and have even more chance of holding the armour in the right place. Some of the owner reviewers have said the same, including one who owns an earlier version of the Urbane Pro, and he says the fit has changed around the arms since that earlier version. Fit does seem to be the most common reason for drop stars from customer reviewers, but a hit rate of 56 5-star ratings from 65 reviews is very good overall. If you look at our return stats to hunt out some sizing info, there is more chance of the shirt being too small than too big. About 8% of these shirts that we've sold in the last year were returned for being too small, and on the other hand, only 3% came back for being too big. There's also a women's version of the shirt, which is very popular. That comes in sizes from 8 up to 20, and sizing seems to be more intuitive on that one. Our return stats show just under 5% came back for being too small, and about 2.5% came back for being too big. The review feedback on that women's version is very strong. All 15 owners who've left a review have given a 5-star rating. Okay, pricing. As we record this, the Urbane Pro Mk3 has a list price of $259.99. That is towards the top end of what you'd pay for a mesh jacket, especially one that doesn't have any extra layers included to protect you against the elements. But the shirt uses high quality materials that have been put together very, very well. And the idea is that this one can be used all year round by adding extra layers over the top. That's not something you get from a more basic mesh jacket. Where one of those hangs around in your wardrobe just waiting for a hot day, this one keeps going with a warm layer and or a waterproof layer over the top. If you want to keep it Knox with your layers, there's a warmth layer called the Union, which is listed at $99.99 as we record this, and then you have a choice of 2 waterproof layers. The Tour is $129.99 and the Welbeck is $149.99. Or you could go for the Dual Pro, which combines a water resistant outer and a quilted layer, and that one is $239.99. I didn't wear this shirt with Knox layers over the top. It was summer, so I didn't need a warmth layer, and I just carried a breathable waterproof jacket that I could roll up into a pouch. On chilly days or those where there was a threat of rain, I just put that jacket over the top, and that was enough to stay warm and dry. In hot temperatures, wearing just the shirt, I found airflow through the mesh panels on the sleeves especially to be very refreshing, but there is always a limit to how effective that can be. Once the temperature gets up into the 30s, there is less difference between the air temperature and your skin temperature, so the cooling effect is reduced. But that's the case with any mesh jacket. It's not a particular comment on this one here. I really like the concept of this shirt, which Knox calls seasonless. The ability to choose my layers based on the weather for my riding trip through Europe was very convenient. The stretch fit makes it flexible, and I found the multitude of pockets to be handy as well. The AA CE rating is also strong enough for me personally, and I have faith in the protective properties of this shirt. Since coming back from my trip, the Knox Urbane Pro Mk3 is something I've found myself reaching for quite a lot, even though I've done more than enough miles in it to give it a proper review already. And I think that shows that I'm probably a bit of a fan. I hope that tells you everything you wanted to know about the Knox Urbane Pro Mk3 armoured shirt. But if there is anything you'd like to ask or to add, then please pop a comment below. Thanks for watching.